I have a video for you today. It's a talkie discussion video, like I do sometimes. I always seem to do this sort of video when I'm either wearing this shirt or my Broadway Collective t-shirt, and it's not intentional, it just happens. So today I wanted to talk about some things that I wish that I had known as an INFJ before I started dating someone. These are basically just things that I've discovered throughout the process that you don't really hear about in the articles that you read, and you do read articles as an INFJ when you're looking at being in a relationship because you want to know all the variables. So I have, I think, 7 points that we're just gonna go through as quickly as possible. Let's do this. So number 1 is finding the balance in being truly yourself, and fixing yourself to be who they need is incredibly difficult. As an INFJ, I am always changing my mindset, changing even the tempo of my voice and my ideas so that I can relate to different people on different levels, which does not make me an ingenuine person. I'm fitting myself to make you feel like you can talk to me. And in relationships, you're supposed to be yourself. And so turning off this chameleon-like mindset, because the temptation is just to dress the way that, they'd want you to dress, or to talk the way that it's well, yes, and that is part of me, but there's also this part of me that not very many people get to see because it's a confusing balance, and they don't tell you that. Now, I don't know if this one is for all INFJs, but I have trouble trusting people a lot. I've never liked the idea of someone else liking me. I've been through so many crushes in my life, and I've always been terrified of someone liking me back. So, first of all, when that happened, it was a major shock. It was please do not do this to me. I don't know how to handle. But I think that the fear is what I wrote. I'm scared I'll let them down. They'll figure out how messed up and complex I am and just leave. If they're the one, they won't leave though, and you have to give them the chance. If you think they're worth your time, then you have to let them try to be worth your time. Number 3, let's talk about our favorite function, FE. It's our second favorite function. It's our second in our function stack. FE means that we feel what our partner is feeling, even if it's not being openly discussed. There are days that I am literally incapable of moving or feeling anything because I know that he isn't feeling well or he's sad, and there's nothing I can do about it. If you're with an FI user, though, which is introverted feeling, they probably aren't going to pick up when you need them there and when you're sad, because the whole thing with FI is everyone says that unless you use the other function, you don't understand the other function, and therefore you should not talk about the other function. But FI users look at themselves first. They feel what they're feeling. FE users incorporate everything in the atmosphere to figure out what they're feeling. So they go from the outside in, whereas FI pretty much stays on the inside. So no matter how much hunting you do, your FI is probably not going to pick up on it. So you need to openly say I need you here because I am having a bad day. And even then, sometimes that doesn't work. So, One thing that you do read in the articles is that INFJs are 100%, and they aren't lying. What I wrote is, I've always been a 100% in or out sort of person. Trying to take things slow in a relationship just meant that I was waiting for them to say, okay, let's go. I'm future-oriented. I've been there for days, but I'm trying to be patient. Basically, if I decide that you're worth my time, you're going to have all my time. Which can be very bad for prioritizing things, but usually I find a way to make it work. If I decide that you're a person who I want to spend time with, you are literally going to have as much time as you want or will take. Which, if you're dating a toxic person, that could be a very bad thing, and you need to set yourself some boundaries. The difficult thing is when they're riding at like 50% and you're at 100% and it's like a little bit off balance. You might need to reevaluate some things. Going off of that, I am very future oriented. And because of NI, which is our first and main function, I'm constantly processing possibilities and scenarios and honestly overanalyzing every little thing, past, present, and future. It's important to remember where you are right now, though. Finding someone who is capable of keeping you in the now while still loving to wander to the future and past with you is so rewarding and so magical. And that's the sort of person you want to be with. Because as an INFJ, I roughly live in the future. Like, I'm constantly thinking about the future, constantly questioning what I need to do now to get to the future. I use the past to help me get there because I learned through past mistakes and lessons, and find the patterns to see them in the now to help me get to the future. But everything is future oriented, and it's important to have someone who's like, okay, are you breathing right now? Because sometimes I forget to breathe because I'm thinking about a possible something in 15 years that I don't know the answer to right now. And it's important to be able to be present in a relationship. Bonus point. You can't fix people. This is one of those things INFJs are expected. It's the expectation for us to be drawn to toxic people and narcissistic people and just in general people who need fixing. And the truth is, we can't deal with our own problems, and therefore we cannot fix someone else's problems. You just can't do it. You will literally rip yourself to pieces. But overthinking about whether you're trying to fix someone or not isn't helpful either. You want to be there for someone, and you need them to want to have you there. It can be hard for them to realize, especially if they have been in bad past relationships, just how much you actually care and want to be there. Be patient. You're both learning, was what I wrote. You literally would do anything for your significant other. You just would. As an INFJ, they are a major part of your narrative now. You are still strong, independent, and your own person. You don't need them, but you definitely want them there if it's a healthy relationship. And these are just a few last minute comments. Don't lose sight of your worth. If someone makes you feel like trash, then they're probably trash, and you should probably find yourself again. And if they don't fit in your masterpiece, then you need to leave them. It's that simple. It's not that simple in the moment, but you're going to be happier once they're gone, because your worth and your life are more important than letting them destroy that. Communication is important, but sometimes you need to let them come to you even when you're dying to hear from them. This is something I deal with on the regular. I like to hear from people, especially people that I want to be close with. It's like, if you're not talking to me, I need to know why you're not talking to me, which leans into clingy. But I'm also very protective, overly protective, and I need to know that people are okay, and I like to know what they're doing and what they're thinking. If you're constantly the first one messaging, then it becomes very one-sided. Give and get is important. If it's going to last, it needs to be equal on both sides, which ties into that. You need to let them communicate with you just as much as you communicate with them, even if that means that you have to go on a hiatus for 3 days to weeks until they realize that you aren't being as present as you were, and they figure out why. Because some people can just be a little bit oblivious sometimes, which is okay. We love oblivious people too. I don't know if this was helpful at all. Honestly, I was just walking to the mailbox and thoughts were springing into my head. I'm like, I'm gonna write these down. I've been dating for 2 months, so I don't have all the answers. I'm not a genius. I'm just an INFJ who is trying to figure things out. I will say that the person that I'm dating is an ENFP, and therefore we have the opposite function stack, which is very interesting. We are the same Enneagram type, type 4 with a wing 5, which is also very interesting. It's interesting seeing the difference between us both being 4s and our MBTIs being different, and trying to figure out where the differences are and how to go about encompassing it and figuring out the other person through that. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. If it wasn't helpful, I hope it was at least interesting. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more MBTI inspired videos, let me know. I love talking about Myers-Briggs so much. I'll see you all in my next video.